Hi guys, γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're making a lemon yogurt cake. You can call it a yogurt lemon cake. In Greek, it's known as yaourtopita, which is basically yogurt pie, but it's definitely a cake. Let's not call this a pie, but that's how you say it in Greek. It's moist, just creamy. It's like a bite of sunshine actually because of the lemon flavor. You can use orange instead if you want, but you definitely want to make this cake. It all comes together in one big bowl. It's so easy to make. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the dry ingredients. Over here I have 3 cups or 400 grams of all-purpose flour. I also have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's about 150 grams. And we're going to zest lemons because we're going to need the juice of the lemons and the zest. And you always want to zest the lemon before you juice it because once it's juiced, that zest is not coming off. So you want the zest of both of these lemons. I don't know if you know this, but most of the flavor, the lemon flavor, is actually in the zest. We're going to get some from the juice too, but those essential oils in here really are very fragrant. And just whisk that all together. We're going to set that aside until we need it. I'm going to juice the lemons. We need 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice. Now you can definitely use orange juice instead if you prefer that, and you can use orange zest to make this an orange flavored cake. Okay, we're going to set that aside. And now it's time to get the wet ingredients ready. I have 2 sticks of butter that are nice and soft, and I'm going to put them in the big bowl. I'm going to use the wrapper to grease the baking pan because there's always some butter left over on here. Leave the butter out at room temperature for about an hour or 2 before you use it, but if you forgot or you don't have time, you can just pop it in the microwave for about 10-15 seconds. And I'm using a 9-inch round springform pan. You can use a bundt pan for this if you prefer. That'll be really pretty. But I love the springform pans because they release easily and just the cake comes out very easily. So I have the 2 sticks, which are 8 ounces of butter. I'll put the gram measurements on the website. 2 cups of granulated sugar, about 400 grams. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to cream that together. If you want to, you can take out a handheld mixer and just beat this together. But you really don't need one. This comes together as long as the butter is nice and soft. Everything will just come together in a big bowl using a spatula and a whisk. So you don't have to dirty anything else. And I'm going to add 3 eggs to this. You want to make sure that the eggs are at room temperature so they don't clump up the butter. If the eggs are cold, they're going to start to freeze up the butter and you're going to have clumps of cold butter throughout the batter. You want everything to be nice and smooth. Next, we're going to add the lemon juice, but we also have 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And I always like to add the baking soda to the acid liquid, like either orange juice or lemon juice or milk or something like that. So that way it can be activated. And I like to put it in the liquid because I don't like to get the taste of the baking soda, which is salty and kind of bittery. If you mix it with the flour, sometimes it doesn't melt properly and then you'll get a little bite of, something bitter and salty, and that's the baking soda. So if you dilute it in the liquid, you won't have that issue. Then we need 1 cup of Greek yogurt. The best Greek yogurt to use is a full fat or plain Greek yogurt. The creamier it is, the better your cake is going to be, the lighter it's going to be. So 1 cup is 250 grams. When you add the lemon juice to the batter, you're going to see that it's going to start to look like it broke up a little bit and it curdled. Don't worry, because as soon as the flour goes in, everything is going to be nice and smooth. We're going to add the flour in just a few batches, mixing until the flour is just incorporated. If you want your cakes to be nice and light, resist the urge to overmix them. It's already smelling lemony. And in the end, when you still see little specks of flour, it's better to take the spatula and just mix it from the bottom all the way up to the top so everything is evenly distributed. The batter is ready. So transfer it to your baking pan and then smooth it out so it's nice and even. The oven should be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to bake on the center rack for about an hour and 10 minutes. Once a toothpick that's inserted into the center comes out clean, then your cake is ready. Take it out, let it cool to room temperature, and then go ahead and transfer it onto your serving platter, and we're going to move on to the next step. So the cake took an hour and 15 minutes to be done in my oven. I did insert the toothpick and I forgot to press play, but it was still a little bit moist in the center, but all that heat from the cake does continue to cook it a little bit more, so don't overcook it. If you're gonna undercook it by a few minutes, but don't overcook it because then it's gonna be dry. This cake just smells amazing. You want it to cool completely. And then I like to serve it with some homemade whipped cream. All I did was in a large mixing bowl, I combined 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. You wanna make sure that the cream is nice and cold with a couple of tablespoons of powdered sugar. You can add as much or as little as you want to make it as sweet or not so sweet. And then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I just whipped that all up until the whipped cream was nice and thick. Transferred it into a little bowl because I want my guests to just dollop however much they want on the side of their cake. I also like to serve this with some berries. I have some strawberries, so I just slice those in half and put them in a little bowl, put some on top of the cake just because it looks so pretty. You can use any berries that you want. And then I dusted the top of the cake with some confectioner sugar and it is ready to be served. Now, instead of the confectioner sugar, you can make a lemon glaze if you want to make it even more lemony than it already is. Basically, you would leave out the whipped cream if you don't want to serve the whipped cream with it, and just combine confectioner sugar with a little bit of fresh lemon juice. Mix that all together until a pourable consistency is created, and then just drizzle that on top of the cake. You want to make sure you drizzle it on top of the cake when the cake is completely cooled. Otherwise, what's going to happen if the cake is still warm, it's going to start to absorb the syrup instead of becoming a nice glaze on top. I'll leave it up to you, and I'll put those options on the blog post as well. It is time for the taste test. Let me get a little bit of the whipped cream and the cake. It's so moist, it's so light, the crumb is almost creamy. The yogurt makes all the difference. It's just lemony. It's like, again, like I said in the beginning, it's like a burst of sunshine in your mouth. I think you guys are going to love this. It tastes great with tea and coffee, so call some friends over and share this goodness with them. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. It's up there with like the best pound cake recipe. It's not a pound cake, almost is kind of, but it just kind of tastes like it. It's perfect for teas and coffee. Like I said, call some friends over and share this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you have any recipe requests, post them down there. I will get to them as soon as I can. The exact measurements are on the blog, dimitrasdishes.com. I hope you guys give this a try. And if you want to learn how to make Greek coffee to serve this with, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes,